and the major conversation around Nigerian political and religious circles in recent times has been US President Trump's threat to blitz terrorists operating on Nigerian territory, who've been finger-pointed as being responsible for killing thousands of Nigerian Christians in the last few years. Trump calls it a genocide that needs to be stopped immediately by the Nigerian government, but President Tinubu and his administration officials are insisting that Nigeria is merely just being smeared by the reprehensible activities of criminal gangs visiting untold violence on innocent citizens irrespective of religion, creed, or gender. Joining us now to consider a few questions, including whether or not the government is doing enough to defend Nigeria's secularity, is Cardinal John Onayekan, the Archbishop Emeritus of Abuja Catholic Diocese. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my dear.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Eminence. Good morning.
Faith.
Thank you for joining us. So I'll start my first question with that last statement that I made. Do you think this administration is doing enough when it comes to insecurity in Nigeria with the week that we have just had of killings, kidnappings, abductions? Your thoughts?
We have been saying it. We have been saying it, that we used to have a nation called Nigeria, and we Nigerians were proud to go abroad and boast that we have a country where we have Christians and Muslims 50-50 living in peace without implosion. We were very glad to be what we were doing, and we were making progress in national integration. What is happening right now should not be happening. There's no question about it that what is happening should not be happening. Children should not be picked from schools. We should not be traveling on the roads with our hearts in our minds. We should not be sleeping with one eye open. And we should not be in a country where we can't just travel where we want and go back where we want. And government cannot say that it is not their responsibility. They can say it if they like, but nobody agrees. That's why we have a government. They asked for our votes. We voted for them, at least so they said. They said we voted for them. Do the work. Do the work. Keep us safe. You have all the money of Nigeria at your disposal to do whatever you like with it. It's those monies, those resources are not available to the ordinary Nigerian. Certainly not to the religious leaders, as far as I know. So I think the first thing we must agree is that there should be truth in this matter. The truth should be out that things are not correct. What is happening is not good, and let the government agree instead of all the time defending itself, denial. There is nothing wrong in Nigeria. There's nothing here that is not happening anywhere else. That's not helping us at all. It's not helping us at all, and they are not reflecting the mood and the feelings of the millions of Nigerians who are living in fear and anxieties. Not to talk of the millions who have suffered tremendously from insurgents and all kinds of violent criminals. Whether you begin to label them with religious titles, whether they are Muslims or Islamic or not, is another matter. But the fact remains that nobody can counteract that Nigerians are being killed. They are being killed, and we believe the government knows who are those killing Nigerians. And the government's duty is to stop them from killing Nigerians. And so far, we have not seen adequate action in this regard. My hope is that the noise that has been generated in the last 1 or 2 weeks from America, and the noise that the terrorists are also generating in Nigeria with the frequent actions that they are taking on our poor children. We hope that will wake up everybody who should be doing something to make sure that the country is safe. It is good that my president has suspended going to South Africa. That's what we expect of the president to do. Sit here and make sure that the country begins to get safe. We hear that the Minister of Defense has been sent back to his state to go and sort this out. But I hope they know things are wrong, not only in his state, in Katsina. The things are wrong all over the country. Benue State, Plateau State, even the federal capital, Niger State. There's problem everywhere. And I think if the government agrees that they have not done well, then they will look for help. Then they will take more different action. They will stop boasting, and they will stop politicking, and they should stop thinking of 2027. Let them talk about 2025 and 26, so that we can survive until then. This is the feeling of most Nigerians.
All right, Your Eminence, thank you so very much for the tone with which you have started the interview. But I'd like to ask, because you have clearly said that if the government admits that they have not done enough, they should seek help. And that's where I'll pick my question from. Donald Trump and America, has said that what is happening in Nigeria is genocide. And that if the government does not wake up to its responsibilities, America will have to come in to ensure that Christians are not being killed any further. But since Donald Trump made that statement, we saw what has happened. During the week alone, it's probably the worst week of the country this year in terms of the number of kidnappings and abductions and killings that has happened. And my question, therefore, would be, what sort of intervention do you think that Nigeria should seek now, particularly from the United States? Is it to have boots on the ground to assist us, or is it to share intelligence? How do you think that America should step in, sir?
Well, no country is an island on its own. Even the great countries, when they reach certain situation, they call for help. They call it partnership. Obviously, there's nothing wrong for Nigeria to seek partnership with other countries to deal with a problem that is beyond their control. But before that can happen, the government will have to agree that it is beyond their control. For the moment, the government keeps saying, we are doing very well. And they are even telling us, the National Security Advisor was telling the Bishops' Conference when we went to the State House that everything is very well now in Nigeria. We were looking at him, wondering, what Nigeria is this man talking about? So, first of all, we must face the reality. If indeed the government says they are incapable of handling the situation, then they either seek for assistance or they step aside for someone else who can do, other people who can do better. But the problem I have is this. I am not so sure that our Nigerian government with our armed forces are incapable of dealing with this matter. I am not so sure. And we are hearing that indeed Nigeria could handle this matter if they put aside politicking, if they put aside tribal and religious sentiments and face criminals who are dealing with us. We are all listening to all kinds of stories that we are hearing about the plans of certain people to destabilize Nigeria for their own interests. But we believe government ought to know about these things and stop them. The problem we have, therefore, is, do we have a government that is incapable of keeping us safe? If that is so, what are they doing to keep us safe? There's no more room now for excuses, saying that, there are foreign elements that are intervening and not allow us to work, or that we want to respect the religions of people. No, there's no more excuse. Nigerians should be able to move around safely within their country, and irrespective of your religion, irrespective of where you come from. Those who are speaking of genocide, that word, the last time we heard of genocide in Nigeria was during the Biafra War. And the Biafra propaganda then said that the federal government was committing genocide against the Biafrans. That's the last time we heard that word. Now the word has become currency, that the government is either committing or permitting or facilitating genocide against Christians. Now, if anybody says that he is being killed and he has evidence of his people being killed, I don't think it is helpful to say he should not talk or that he should not complain. Let people complain if they are not feeling well. When they talk of discrimination which also ends up as persecution. They don't want to hear the word persecution. But there are people who feel they are under persecution. Let them speak and say what is happening, how they are being treated in wherever they are. Nigeria is a very complex country. We should not close our eyes and pretend that Christians are feeling the same way all over the country. We do know that there are parts of this nation where Christians are second-class citizens, and they have been shouting, nobody has been listening to them. I pray that God has given us opportunity now for everybody to speak his mind and to insist that in this country we are all equal. And there's no religion that has an advantage over another. We are not in an Islamic nation. There are Islamic nations in many parts of the world. Nigeria is not one of them. Let no one think that it is. And let no one behave and continue to behave as if it is. And I think these are the things we must face, and face squarely, sincerely, and courageously. Are we ready to do so? I don't know. I'm an old man now, 81 years old. I'm no longer in charge of any church. I'm a retired Archbishop of Abuja, but there are church leaders who are speaking. They should listen to them. They should call them and listen to them. I don't think there's much use going with high-power delegation to go and start talking with American legislators. For me, it sounds very funny. The discussion is not in America. The discussion should be here in Nigeria. Let us listen to each other. I'm not aware that the Nigerian Christians as a group have gone to America to beg them to come and attack us. No, there was no such thing. No, we didn't offer. There may be some Nigerian Christians who went and made reports, but as Nigerian Christians, we have not done such a thing. We still believe that we live in a country where we live with fellow Muslims, that we can live together in peace. There are groups, terrorists, who are doing horrible things. They claim to be Muslims. We cannot deny that. If they claim to be Muslims, it is my strong belief that it is the Muslim community in Nigeria who can best deal with them. I can't talk with them. I don't know their language. So for as long as they claim to be Muslims, we must agree that it is so, even though we could say they are not representing our Muslim community. And we are told, too, that what they are doing is against the Islamic State. These are just theological discussion. The reality is there on the ground. So all this situation where people are killing and getting away with it, where regularly armed terrorists are occupying people's villages, and the government is doing nothing to dislodge them, and instead they are building in IDP camps where they are living in a miserable way of life, that should stop. That should stop. Yes. This is not a country that is ungoverned.
Yes, and I think you said something interesting earlier. You mentioned that the government knows who is killing Nigerians. The government is aware of these people. Given the pressure that we've gotten from the US in the last few weeks, do you have a sense that the government will start naming and shaming and condemning these people who are behind all of these killings? What will it take?
Well, there are many Nigerians whom I've spoken to who say they don't care who comes to Nigeria. They don't care about our sovereignty, provided we can be kept safe. That is the reaction of people who are, shall I say, really, they just don't know what to say anymore. But for me, it is a shame on Nigeria that we have to wait for Trump to make noise before we begin to look at the reality that we see all around us. We don't need Trump to remind us that things are going wrong. We don't need Trump to let them know they should name, shame, and deal with all the supporters, the financiers of terrorism in Nigeria. If they do it now, well and good, we thank God. But if they still continue to live in denial and say, no, everything is okay, we have our constitution, of course we have our constitution, but the reality on ground is what we are looking at. People should not be made unsafe in their homeland. It is not happening all over Nigeria. It is not happening all over Nigeria. It is happening in certain parts of Nigeria, but even one small part of Nigeria is Nigeria. And they have those who are facing the violence. those who are facing the attack, they have every right to cry that they are facing the attack. And if they cry to their own political leaders and nobody's doing anything, they have every right to go all over the world and make noise that they are killing us and our government are not doing anything. I don't blame anybody for doing that, because first and foremost, survival is the first thing. Now, I don't know whether, just as it seems the terrorists have decided to make their wars heard with all that has happened in the last week, maybe it will also make the government review everything. Check your records, look at the files. Who are those people that have been named with proper evidence, and stop wondering whether you want to step on any toes, or whether you want to go, you want to do anything against your political allies. And people are talking, everybody's talking about 2027, which for me seems really is a bit sad, because between now and 2027, we have almost a year and a half. A lot can happen, can spoil within these 1.5 years. Why don't we face the country as it is now, make it safe, make it livable, and then when 2027 comes, ask us whether we want you back. Then we will decide. That is, if there's going to be an election, and a free and fair election. But before then, we must live in peace.
Yes, Archbishop John Cardinal.
Before then, we must live in peace.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Eminence. John Cardinal Onayekan, thank you very much for joining us.
I believe a lot of people are suffering. Christians and Muslims are being killed, and that should not happen. Among our rulers, there are Christians and Muslims among them. We should put our heads together, one nation, and tackle those who are making our country unlivable.
Yes.
Thank you very much for giving me a chance to speak.
Thank you for the conversation.
Thank you, sir.